China just flew their sixth-generation fighter, while America's F-47 sits grounded with engine problems. Boeing workers are on strike. Costs have tripled beyond the F-35. Two-year delays are mounting, and our most advanced fighter program in decades might be heading for disaster. But here's what the Pentagon doesn't want you to know about the F-47. It's not just another expensive mistake, it's potentially the last line of defense against China's military surge, and we might be losing the race before it even starts. The problems run deeper than anyone imagined, and the stakes couldn't be higher for American air superiority. If you're concerned about America's military readiness, type yes in the comments below. We need to know where you stand on this critical issue. Let's dive into the real story behind the F-47 and why this fighter jet represents both our greatest hope and our biggest risk in modern warfare. The F-47 was supposed to be America's answer to an increasingly dangerous world. When President Trump announced Boeing as the winner in March 2025, standing in the Oval Office flanked by military leaders, he declared it would be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built. The Air Force promised it would fly faster than Mach 2, travel over 1,000 nautical miles without refueling, and dominate any adversary that dared challenge American airmen. But behind the fanfare lies a troubling reality that threatens everything our military has worked toward. The first major problem hitting the F-47 is a cost crisis that nearly killed the program before it began. Former Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall had to pause the entire project in May 2024 when costs exploded to 3 times the price of an F-35 Lightning II. We're talking about $300 million per aircraft. That's more than the GDP of some small nations for a single fighter jet. To put this in perspective, the F-22 Raptor, already considered prohibitively expensive, costs around $143 million per unit. The F-47 doubles that figure and keeps climbing. Defense analysts are calling it unsustainable, and they're right to be concerned. When your military's most critical program becomes so expensive that you can't afford to buy enough of them to matter, you've created a strategic vulnerability. But the cost problem goes deeper than just the price tag. The Air Force is expected to spend $20 billion on development between 2025 and 2029 alone. That's money being pulled away from other critical defense programs at a time when our military faces threats on multiple fronts. Every dollar spent on the F-47's ballooning costs is a dollar not spent on pilot training, base security, or maintaining our existing fleet. The second crisis facing the F-47 is perhaps even more concerning. The engines that are supposed to power this revolutionary aircraft are falling behind schedule by 2 full years. The next generation adaptive propulsion program, which was developing the advanced engines for the F-47, has been delayed until 2030. Originally scheduled to complete in 2027, this delay could push the F-47's operational debut well into the next decade. These aren't just any engines, they're adaptive power plants designed to shift configuration based on flight conditions, providing optimal thrust and efficiency, whether the aircraft is cruising at high altitude or engaging in combat maneuvers. Without these engines, the F-47 loses much of its promised capability advantage. The Air Force is now facing a choice between waiting for the proper engines or settling for less advanced alternatives that could compromise the aircraft's performance. The engine delay exposes a fundamental problem with modern military procurement. We're pushing technology so far ahead that even our most experienced contractors can't deliver on schedule. When the Pentagon announced an aggressive timeline to have the F-47 flying before the end of President Trump's term, industry experts shook their heads. The reality of engineering challenges doesn't bend to political timelines. Meanwhile, Boeing itself presents the third major problem. The company tasked with building America's most advanced fighter is dealing with serious manufacturing and quality control issues across multiple programs. Boeing has lost billions of dollars on cost overruns with the T-7A trainer, KC-46 tanker, and Air Force One programs. Quality problems have plagued their operations, raising serious questions about their ability to deliver on the F-47. Adding to Boeing's troubles, 3,200 union workers at the St. Louis plant, where the F-47 will be built, have rejected their latest contract offer. The potential strike threatens to delay production at a critical time when the program can't afford more setbacks. Boeing's track record of delivery problems combined with labor disputes creates a perfect storm of risk for the F-47 program. Defense sources close to the Air Force have expressed supreme angst about Boeing's ability to deliver on the management and production elements of the program when your primary contractor is struggling with basic operational challenges. It raises fundamental questions about program viability. But here's where the story takes an even more concerning turn. While America struggles with these problems, China is racing ahead. In December 2024, China unveiled its J-36 sixth-generation fighter, and the implications are staggering. Unlike the F-47, which hasn't even entered the prototype phase, the J-36 has been spotted with flight data probes, indicating it's already undergoing flight testing. The J-36's design shows China understands the future of air combat. With its tailless tri-jet configuration and massive internal weapons bay, it's built for long-range operations and heavy payloads. Defense analyst Justin Bronk from the Royal United Services Institute notes that China's aircraft demonstrates superior stealth and long-range capabilities that directly challenge American air superiority assumptions. This creates a strategic nightmare scenario. While American taxpayers fund a program plagued by delays and cost overruns, China appears to be successfully developing and testing their answer to sixth-generation warfare. The timing couldn't be worse, as tensions in the Indo-Pacific continue to escalate and China becomes increasingly assertive about Taiwan and territorial claims. The fourth problem with the F-47 is what experts call the capability cost-death spiral. The aircraft needs to be large enough for 1,000-mile range, stealthy enough to penetrate advanced defenses, and capable enough to operate independently when communications are jammed. But each of these requirements drives up cost and complexity exponentially. Justin Bronk's research reveals the core dilemma. The larger and heavier an aircraft, the more expensive it will generally be to both procure and operate, especially if it is also intended to be very low observable and capable of supersonic flight. The F-47 is trapped in a vicious cycle where the capabilities that make it necessary for Indo-Pacific operations also make it potentially unaffordable. The range requirement alone forces difficult compromises. Current American fighters depend heavily on aerial refueling tankers, but these large, slow aircraft are sitting ducks for Chinese long-range missiles. The F-47 needs to operate from bases much farther from potential combat zones, requiring massive internal fuel capacity that drives up size, weight, and cost. Congressional budget pressure represents the fifth major problem. Defense appropriators have already proposed a $325 million reduction for the F-47 program, though they haven't publicly justified the cut beyond calling it a classified adjustment. When lawmakers start making cuts to classified programs, it usually signals deeper concerns about viability and oversight. The broader budget environment doesn't help. The Air Force is simultaneously funding the B-21 Raider bomber program, modernizing nuclear weapons, and maintaining aging fleets of F-22s and F-35s. Every defense dollar spent on the F-47's inflated costs means fewer resources for other critical needs. Some defense experts worry that the F-47 could follow the path of other expensive programs that were eventually canceled or drastically reduced in scope. The B-2 Spirit bomber was cut from 132 aircraft to just 21 due to cost overruns. The F-22 Raptor was capped at 187 aircraft instead of the planned 750. If the F-47 faces similar cuts, America could end up with a handful of extremely expensive aircraft that can't provide meaningful capability against a mass Chinese threat. The sixth problem involves technical complexity and integration challenges. The F-47 isn't just a fighter jet, it's the centerpiece of a family of systems that includes collaborative combat aircraft, advanced sensors, and cutting-edge weapons. This system of systems approach multiplies complexity and potential failure points. The collaborative combat aircraft, or loyal wingman drones, are supposed to work alongside the F-47 to multiply its effectiveness. But these unmanned systems face their own development challenges and questions about reliability in contested electromagnetic warfare environments. If the drones can't maintain communications with the mothership, the entire concept breaks down. Integration testing alone could take years longer than expected. When you're combining revolutionary stealth technology, adaptive engines, artificial intelligence, and autonomous drones into a single operational system, the potential for delays and technical problems grows exponentially. The seventh concern is what happens if the program fails entirely. Some defense analysts worry that canceling the F-47 could leave Boeing out of the fighter business permanently, creating a dangerous monopoly for Lockheed Martin. Boeing plans to shut down FA-18 Super Hornet production in 2027, and F-15EX orders are ending soon. Without the F-47, America could lose a major competitor in fighter aircraft manufacturing. But the strategic implications go far beyond industrial-based concerns. The F-22 Raptor fleet is aging and limited to just 185 aircraft. The F-35 Lightning II, while capable, wasn't designed for the long-range air superiority mission that dominates Indo-Pacific scenarios. If the F-47 fails, America faces a potential gap in air dominance capability, just as China fields increasingly sophisticated threats. Despite these serious problems, there are reasons for cautious optimism about American capabilities and ingenuity. The Air Force has been flying experimental versions of advanced fighters for 5 years, testing cutting-edge concepts and proving that breakthrough technology is achievable. American defense contractors have a track record of eventually solving complex technical challenges, even when programs face early difficulties. The competition between Boeing and Lockheed Martin for the F-47 contract drove both companies to propose innovative solutions. Boeing won based on best overall value rather than just lowest price, suggesting their design offers genuine advantages. The company has invested $1.8 billion in new manufacturing facilities specifically for advanced combat aircraft production. American pilots remain the best trained and most experienced in the world. Whatever aircraft they eventually fly, whether it's an improved F-47, upgraded F-22s, or something entirely different, they'll maximize its potential against any adversary. Our military's ability to adapt and overcome challenges has been proven repeatedly throughout history. The F-47 program also benefits from lessons learned during previous troubled programs. The F-35's development problems taught valuable lessons about managing complexity and international partnerships. Modern digital design tools and simulation capabilities should help identify and solve problems earlier in the development process. Most importantly, American democracy's greatest strength, the ability to debate and course-correct, applies to defense programs too. When problems emerge, Congress, the media, and defense experts can pressure for changes and improvements. This transparency and accountability, while sometimes messy, ultimately produces better outcomes than secretive authoritarian systems. The stakes surrounding the F-47 extend far beyond just another military program. This aircraft represents America's commitment to maintaining air superiority in an era when authoritarian powers are rapidly modernizing their forces. China's military buildup isn't just about numbers, it's about challenging the foundations of American global influence. Air superiority has been the cornerstone of American military strategy since World War II. From the skies over Europe to the Pacific theater, American control of the air has enabled ground forces to operate effectively and project power globally. Losing that advantage would fundamentally alter the global balance of power. The F-47's problems also reflect broader challenges in American defense acquisition. We're asking contractors to develop revolutionary technologies on compressed timelines while managing costs and political pressures. This combination often produces exactly the kind of problems we're seeing: cost overruns, technical delays, and capability compromises. But perhaps the most important lesson from the F-47's troubled development is that maintaining military superiority requires sustained commitment and realistic expectations. Revolutionary capabilities don't come cheap or easy. The question isn't whether the F-47 will face problems, it's whether America has the political will and financial resources to work through those problems toward operational success. Looking ahead, the F-47 program faces several critical decision points that will determine its ultimate fate. Can Boeing solve its manufacturing and labor problems while delivering on technical promises? Will Congress continue funding despite cost overruns and delays? Can the Air Force accept a less capable aircraft to control costs, or does the China threat require the full original vision? The American defense establishment has overcome similar challenges before. The F-16 Fighting Falcon was dismissed as too lightweight and simple when first proposed. The F-117 Nighthawk was so secret that few believed stealth technology was possible. Even the troubled F-35 program has eventually produced a capable aircraft that allies around the world want to purchase. What makes the F-47 different is the compressed timeline and the nature of the threat. China isn't waiting for America to solve its problems. Every month of delay gives potential adversaries more time to develop countermeasures and advance their own programs. The luxury of extended development timelines that characterize previous programs may no longer exist. The F-47 represents more than just military capability. It symbolizes America's determination to maintain technological superiority in an increasingly competitive world. Our engineers, pilots, and defense workers continue pushing the boundaries of what's possible, even when facing seemingly impossible challenges. Success with the F-47 would demonstrate that American innovation and determination can still produce game-changing capabilities. Failure would signal to allies and adversaries alike that America's technological edge is diminishing. The stakes couldn't be higher for a program that started with such promise but now faces such serious challenges. The story of the F-47 isn't over. American ingenuity has solved seemingly impossible problems before, and our military's adaptability remains unmatched. Whatever challenges emerge, one thing remains constant: America's commitment to defending freedom and maintaining peace through strength. The men and women of our Air Force deserve the best equipment our nation can provide. The F-47, despite its current problems, represents our ongoing commitment to giving them every advantage in an increasingly dangerous world. That commitment, more than any single aircraft program, is what truly matters for America's security. If this analysis has given you new insights into America's defense challenges, please like this video and subscribe for more in-depth coverage of military developments. Your support helps us continue bringing you the facts behind the headlines that shape our national security.